Hello everyone and welcome to the Bank Tellers podcast, brought to you by Money 2020. I'm Ian Horne, European Head of Content at Money 2020, and in this podcast we speak to senior leaders from banks all over the world. This time we're joined by Giorgi Shagidze, CEO of maib, which is Moldova's largest commercial bank and also its biggest lender. It accounts for about 34% of Moldova's bank assets and 37% of its loans. Giorgi has been the CEO at maib since 2021, and his mandate to run the bank was extended earlier this year following an ambitious digital transformation, which has yielded impressive results. What does that mean exactly? Well, maib has increased its retail banking market share to 33.7%, an increase of 5%, and made even bigger gains in the SME market, growing its share to 37%, a rise of 15 percentage points. maib has also grown its net income considerably. Its income for 2023 is 70% higher than the figure for 2019. Mobile customers have tripled. They're now over 590,000, and over 55% of retail loans and 65% of deposits are now issued in maib's app. Besides this, the bank has developed a long-term ESG roadmap, upgraded its branding and in-store experiences, and reorganized many of its teams while opening a new head office. This is impressive stuff. Giorgi, welcome to the podcast. Did I miss anything?
Well, hi, Jan, and hello, everyone. And this was a very comprehensive overview. I think you basically went through all the important points. Indeed, we did strengthen our position in the market. We put lots of effort in digital. There is a result in numbers. This is the fair summary of the result.
Of course, it's a fair summary. It's a nice summary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I felt great.
Well, Giorgi, we're going to make this a conversation in three parts, and we'll drill down into some of the reasons why you achieved those numbers. First, we're going to look into the story of maib, which I'm realizing I struggle to say, but I'm going to keep trying to say it. And then I want to drill down into your mindset for banking and innovation. And after that, we've got the lightning round. And the lightning round is where I try to get you to answer big questions at speed. So be ready for that one, Giorgi. On part one, let's start with the bank. What is the founding story for maib, and how has the bank transformed and grown since its inception?
Yeah, we call it maib, and it's
maib. That's easy.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that
it's
in
easy.
future. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it is. It used to be Moldova Agro-Industrial Bank, and then we did the rebranding. But then we also maintained this kind of heritage of the brand that we had. The bank was established in 1990s when the country became independent. It was again agro-industrial bank. It was leader of the banking sector, and since then it maintains this kind of the leadership position. In 2018, new shareholders joined the bank. It's a consortium of EBRD, Invalda, and Horizon Capital, and that's the transformation. When this transformation started, the bank was mostly focused on corporate, was like a disciplined, risk-averse, largest bank of the country. And the transformation basically meant that we transformed it to more future-proof, more agile, more digital, more diversified institution with the customer at the center of everything that we do. And again, the focus on digital. And you said the numbers on digital. Of course, we have many things to be done. It's not, I don't want to sound like that we've done everything. We are continuing competing, continuing developing, but then this was the phase of the transformation that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And that's quite a jump from agro-industrial, right? And does that essentially mean you were doing banking services and lending for agriculture and industry, or am I misunderstanding that?
So we do agro loans, agricultural industry loans in the branches, in the regions, and so on. But then overall, the bank is diversified across products, across sectors, and overall the market share per each segment is between 35 and 40%, depending which segment you use. Recently, we started to aggressively develop these digital capabilities of the bank. There are many areas that are unique for the region and that we are quite proud of. For example, we did deploy the FaceID function, which is takes your face picture, it goes to public registry, pulls out the picture from there, and then when there is a match, that basically proceeds with either customer onboarding or payment or contract signing, etc., which is quite unique for the region as well.
Yeah. So were you the first in the region to do that?
Yeah, yes, in this form. Of course, Face ID is something that even any phone comes with, but the fact of pulling the picture from the public registry and comparing it is something unique with us.
Got you. And obviously, you've got this history in agricultural industry. But what are your main business lines right now? And actually, not only what are you doing now, but do you think your main business lines will change anytime soon? Because obviously, there's a quick kind of evolutionary progress that you're on here right now.
Yeah, so Moldova is obviously a small country, but in Moldova, we are the largest across all the segment and product. Why I'm trying to say this is that we basically do all the businesses, or most of the, or absolute majority of the banking businesses that exist in the country. So if you take our retail banking operation, that's also around 34-35% of market share. A little bit more in SME. You mentioned that we increased our market share in SME by 15 percentage point. It's even higher in corporate, given the historical strengths of the bank we had in corporate. In digital, I think there are few areas that, firstly, the growth in digital banking is about 50% plus each quarter. And secondly, about 70% of our loans, number of our loans are granted through our mobile banking. They are easily accessible from our mobile app, and the number is even higher for deposits. So basically, more than 70% already is granted from our mobile bank.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. And the figures you mentioned on the SME market are really, they're quite something, a growth of 15 percentage points. That's year on year in that market. How have you been able to do that?
Yeah, sorry, it is a 3 years period. So we
Okay, 3 years.
increased by, during this 3 year period when we started transformation until now. I think there were many areas that maybe if I can summarize the number one we really try to do across all the businesses is basically putting the customer at the center. And this is easy to say, it's very difficult to do in real life. And then we try to understand, we try to be close to customers, understand their feedback. We changed our entire operating model into the agile operating model. This is the concept that is pretty much pioneered by ING in Europe, which basically you put the teams from various areas together, equip them with the necessary instruments and delegate the decisions. So they basically take the decisions and they are close to customers. So we transformed our banking model into agile operating model. The second one we did it that we basically redesigned and changed the operating model of all our branches. We closed down 30% of our branches while increasing number of customers by 30%. And there was a big focus on digital. As we already mentioned, I think the digital numbers, the investment of time on effort, money in digital has been very big. And eventually this combination of those areas clearly give the results. We focus on SME to things like, the time to yes, time to cash, ensuring the customer experience is the key. Again, I don't want to sound that we are there. We need to do much more. We need to ensure that our customer get always better service than they expect. But this is the journey that we have been going through.
Yeah, totally understand. And actually, let's drill down into the innovation from within the company in part two, which we're now on to. So, Giorgi, you've made it through part one unscathed. So that's good news. The second part we'll start with, here's a question we're going to ask everyone, which is, what's your secret sauce? And by that, I mean, why would a consumer or a business bank with my, rather than someone else?
Yeah, yeah. So I think there are a few areas. Number one is again the customer experience, and we really try to put the customer at the center, react to the customer's needs, and try to provide the unique service across the channels. And the customer experience, something that we are trying to embed in our culture, so that, for example, each management meeting in each week would start with the customer experience review, what new points we had, what new pains we have to solve, and so on. And again, I don't want to sound like we've done everything, but this is the journey that we are going. This is number one. Number two is the digital, and throughout the digital capabilities that I mentioned, again, 70% of loans are granted through mobile bank. We try to ensure that the design of our app is very intuitive, easy to use, even to some extent very, let's say, nice looking and so on. So that the digital is a very convenient, intuitive app with lots of functionalities that allows our customer to use our service. And of course, we have the modern branch network, open, transparent, rebranded, which we did rebranded with the new customer engagement operating model in the branches, where people teach the customers how to use mobile banking and so on. This is also part of the offering. So these are the combination of the events. There are, of course, we give the loans, we give the the usual banking products. We do give lifestyle products on top of the banking products, but the key are the ones that I mentioned.
Yeah, and I do think you answered this partly, but I'm going to go back to it. You said, you put the customer first at the center of what you do. I'm sure other banks in your region would say they do the exact same. So what is it that you do that is slightly different? I know you said you have, customer service meetings at the start of each week to discuss that. And yes, you've got the app, but what is it you do that really takes that to the next level?
Uh, I think what we do try is to understand what the customer needs and how we are going to address this need. And clearly we benchmark ourselves against other banks. And by the way, not only the other banks, but also other retail focused industries as well. We do measure the NPS, whatever. So this is, of course, basic, and we do it. But I think what I'm trying to do is that if you put the customer at the center, and we changed our model so that our teams are close to customers, they take the decisions, then you are faster, you deploy the product faster, you solve the product problem faster, you ensure that as soon as the customer expectation changes, you change your channel product mix and so on. So this is the journey that we are going through. And it requires changes from the operating model. Let's call it, we invest a lot to align top and mid managers with the targets that we have. For example, last time we did Stanford Executive Program for 60 people of our top and middle management. It was focused on leadership, leadership, culture, and strategy. Why I mentioned this? There is this park framework that Stanford brings. This is people, architecture, routines, and culture. You need change in all of them when you want really to put the customer at the center. So copying this is very difficult. I mean, everyone can say that we put the customer at the center, but to really put it, you require to change all the model of the organization. And we are not there. We are on the journey.
Yeah, but I really like that answer, and actually having a kind of methodology or a rationale behind that is good to have. So let's look at innovation inside the bank. Do you build new solutions in tech? Do you actively buy other fintechs? Are you looking for partnerships? When you're trying to do something differently, do you do all three of those things? How do you approach this?
So we try to do ourselves, of course, and especially the areas that require innovation, we try to do in-house mostly. However, we do partner with fintech. We have very good example of partnering with the bus payments. So the payments that you go to buses and trolleybuses in the city, that we partner with a very growing fintech in the country, and it's been quite successful example. We would like to partner more. Unfortunately, we would like to do more than we've done, and we are not satisfied with this, and we'll be actively looking on fintech. But in our mind or in our strategy, we believe that partnering with fintechs, embedding our services into fintechs, or the other way around, or finding any partnership model which is win-win in the long term to fintech is the way that we want to go, and we have done, but we want to do more.
Got you. So that over, buying fintechs, and that over building your own tech, right?
Yes, I mean we can buy fintech, and we can build the fintech our own. I think the key question is how we are ensuring that fintech and us give better value to customer than separate us and fintech. So that's what we are trying to look in the payments that I mentioned. We found this model that works very well. So we will be looking for such models in more areas.
Great stuff. Thank you. And which new technologies are you focused on right now? I mean, obviously, we've just come off the back of Money 2020 Amsterdam. So much talk around AI, of course. Lots of conversation around open banking. Lots of, even emerging technology going on. Blockchain seems to be back on the menu. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Which technologies do you think are most important in this moment in time? And how do you learn about new tech as well and decide which ones to focus on?
Yeah, so let me start maybe with so let's say AI is by far number one in our mind right now, and then we are trying to use AI in customer relationship models, use AI in our back offices, in our data, in our risk, you name it, and AI is clearly everybody is obsessed with AI right now. But I think we have very good first results in sales models. We have very good first results in our chatbot too, which we try to use a little bit of ChatGPT between the chatbot that we have and the customer. So we a little bit put ChatGPT, which basically helps to smooth the answer and so on. AI is by far the number one. How we are trying to understand this, of course, we try to attend the conferences, we try to go to various courses, and we each year we do the strategic sessions when we invite the top consulting companies and take the management off-site. Basically, we listen what trends are there and so on. Google is there, so everybody is required to find the information per its own area.
Brilliant. And once you've made your decisions on technology, what's your kind of procurement or partnership process for integrating it?
So usually we do tenders. Usually, I think unless there is a very specific case that we shouldn't do the tender, we do the tender. Whenever we identify what is the the need of technology that we are going to acquire, we do the tenders. The tenders, we try to search the companies through our contacts or through public sources. Also, these tenders usually are available on our sites. And then we collect the information, you engage with the teams, you see the price, quality, team, whatever. And that would be the usual approach.
Got you. So that's part two done. We now move on to the lightning round, which I've threatened you with already. The idea with this, Giorgi, is I'll ask you some big questions, but you can only answer them in one or two sentences. Obviously, if you go beyond that, that's cheating. So please don't. So I'm going to start with question one, which is, what advice do you have for fintechs who want to engage with you?
Um, look to value. It might sound trivial. Look to the value they can add to the customers of maib.
Mhm. That's a good answer. Second question, what's your favorite fintech innovation?
I think the investment apps may be the fraction investments that have been lately made the investment possible to to usual retail customers.
Yeah.
Fraction share investment. If you take the recent ones, fraction share investment that made investment possible to retail apps. If you take a little bit older, maybe all these digital banks, they made the traditional banks to change.
And I agree that they're really cool, those apps. And question three, what's the biggest misconception about banking today?
Maybe the one that the banks are behind in technology or investment in technology. In fact, the banks are investing quite a lot in all this.
Yeah, that's an interesting answer, and I'd love to know what our listeners think of that. I think some would agree, you know. Question four is, say you're out getting a meal with your friends. How are you paying? Like, do you use your phone, a digital wallet? Are you using a kind of plastic card, a QR code, or something else?
I do use phone. I do usually tap the phone
Mhm.
payment. Yeah,
Yeah,
usually.
got you. And as a banker, this is question five. What keeps you up at night? What's the kind of problems that you have in your day-to-day work that, that maybe stop you from sleeping as you'd like to?
Well, I think overall the regional context, especially in Moldova, is important, and we need to be proactive in managing the loan book, whatever the interest rates, etc. So this is very obvious. But if you take longer term picture and more general, it's AI, and what is how AI will uh, disrupt the banking, and what will be the new banking model that is winning is something that you need to proactive to win. Otherwise, you will be lagger.
Yeah, yeah, good answer. And on the flip side of that, what makes you spring out of bed as a banker? Why do you do what you do?
Um, I think we get lots of excitement with new new digital, especially product services that meets the customer or exceeds the customer expectations, and we grow with the customers. I think if you try to boil it down, maybe this is what makes you exciting.
Got you. And a non-fintech question to finish the lightning round. What's the first app that you open in the morning?
Uh, I do open. I do open maybe something from social media to see what's happening around our publicity and so on. Maybe
Yeah,
that would be the first up.
got you. Okay, you've survived the lightning round. Thank you, Georgi. I
Yeah.
have a couple of more questions. I meant to finish
Please,
there, but
please go ahead. Yeah.
yes, but I will. I will. Thank you. We've got a bit of time. So quickly, I mean, look, you're a CEO of a nation-leading bank, and I'm sure some of our listeners have similar ambitions. What skills and qualities do you need? How do you get there, and what do you need to do?
So I think there are few areas, right? Number one is that clearly some technical knowledge, and I think that's fine. And without this technical knowledge, it's difficult, but it's not that super difficult to obtain. The bigger one maybe is ability to have some kind of, I don't want to sound like arrogant, but um, courage, vision, action that will take your career progress or the progress of the entity that you are leading. Culture is important, leadership skill is important. So ensuring that people you work with feel comfortable working with each other and with you is super important. Otherwise, you will not get anywhere. So we have this the servant leadership term that we use a lot in the bank. I think this is important as well. So combination of those things.
Got you. And obviously, you've kind of undergone a bit of a digital transformation at maib, and the performance since you've taken over as CEO has been impressive. And obviously went through those numbers earlier on. Where are you currently getting your inspiration for the strategy for the bank? Where do you turn to for new ideas, and how are you kind of deciding what to do next?
So basically, we are looking to other markets now, and on the last investment call, we said that we'll be exploring Romanian market, which is very challenging for us, and that also makes us very excited. Where we get this, of course, we look what's happening on the kind of the global scale, what's happening in technology innovation, in AI. Again, the conferences that we mentioned, and including the Money 2020, is very helpful in understanding what is out there that you can use to put together for the good operating model. So that would be the combination of the things.
Got you. And last question for you. It's well known that the bank's looking to IPO at some point, and I know that's part of your mandate. So can you provide any update of where maib is on that journey, and how does the IPO plan impact your strategy at all?
So IPO is clearly the priority. We need certain changes in certain laws before IPO becomes practical, and then we expect these changes to happen. And as soon as they do happen, then we will be able to go to this journey. I don't think IPO changes strategy too much. I think strategy is something how you basically realize most of the potential that you have, or the mission that you have, and then the more successful you are in strategy, the more successful your IPO can be, and or with or without IPO, good strategy is important.
Brilliant. Thank you, Giorgi. And on that, I'm going to finish up the interview. But thank you again for joining us. It's been really good having you as part of this, and also for telling us the journey of maib. Thank you for telling me I could call it maib. That helped me tremendously as we got into this interview. So it's been good having learning about your journey and all the things you've been doing. Thanks also to everyone listening to the Bank Teller podcast. We'll continue to share stories of banking innovation from across the world. But that's all for today's episode.